Not all historical artifacts are made equal, and sometimes innocent-looking items tend to come with curses attached. I'm talking about everything from beds to artwork, jewels, and more, so I hope you're ready for today, and maybe just cleanse the air now before we get started. Well, kicking things off, the fabulously ornate Great Bed of Ware does not want the likes of you sleeping in it. This lavish oak bed is richly decorated with carved figures and a lot of beautiful scenes, and is so big it is rumored to comfortably sleep 4 couples. Allegedly, the bed was made in the 15th century for King Edward by carpenter Jonas Fosbrook, but throughout the years found itself being passed between the inns of Ware, where commoners were able to sleep in it and cover it in graffiti. The disrespect and defacing of this regal item angered the ghost of Fosbrook, who now attacks any commoner who sleeps in the bed that he made for noble lineage only. This great bed is quite possibly the most famous bed in British history and has been mentioned in several literary works, including Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, Byron's Don Juan, and more. So y'all ever hear about mummy's curse? Okay, not actually a mummy, but the mummy board or coffin lid of an unknown high-status woman from the 21st or 22nd dynasty. The British Museum's unlucky mummy has earned quite the reputation for causing destruction through its ancient curse. So this mysterious being was found at Thebes in the late 1800s, and tales of its curse started soon after that. It's said that of the 4 young Englishmen who bought it, 2 died in incidents, and a couple folks died in poverty. A string of illnesses, accidents, and deaths following this are all said to be attributed to the mummy. So leave mummy alone. At a whopping 105 carats, the Koh-i-Noor diamond might look beautiful, but this reportedly cursed gemstone has a bit of a dark side. The diamond once belonged to the ferocious Sikh Maharaja Ranjit Singh, who died during the Anglo-Sikh Wars, leaving his young son, Duleep, as the last Maharaja of the empire. Now, when the East India Company seized control over the empire, Duleep was kidnapped by the British Crown and exiled to Britain, where he was adored by Queen Victoria, who became godmother to several of his descendants, including Princess Sophia, who went on to become a prominent suffragette. The infamous precious stone was also taken by the British Crown and is part of the British Crown jewels to this day, but legend. And the stone's tumultuous origins have earned it the reputation of causing death and misfortune to any male who owns it. Well, apparently since being owned by the British royal family, it's only ever been worn by gals for safety. Let's keep it that way. Within Roman military history, the Greco-Roman ballista was a weapon similar to the crossbow, but at a larger scale, which fired arrows or stones. In 1989, archaeological works were being carried out on the Israeli-Syrian border. These ballista balls were found alongside what appeared to be the remains of a ballista. Well, a couple years later, in 1995, some ammunition of the Roman war artifact was stolen from the site, but the theft wasn't noticed. Time passed, and in 2015, several rock balls that matched the ones found in the diggings appeared in the courtyard of a museum with a note. This note, supposedly written by the thief, stated that after stealing the balls, he had experienced profound bad luck, and he believed them to be cursed. Unofficial reports claim that among the calamities the person describes in his note, he comments that ruin fell upon him, as he had a prosperous business that ended suddenly when those rocks came into his life. It is also said that sometime later his family abandoned him, and he was forced to get rid of many other possessions to settle debts and avoid bankruptcy until he realized the origin of his problems. Get rid of them. The Vyne Ring, or the Ring of Sylvanus, is a gold ring dating probably from the 4th century AD, and it was discovered in a plowed field near Silchester in Hampshire, England in 1785. It's unknown how the ring came to be located at the Vyne, but it is presumed that the farmer who found the ring sold it to the family, who are known to have an interest in history and antiquities. Well, in 1888, the owner of the property, Chandler Shute, wrote about the ring and the history of the house. Turns out in 1929, the archaeologist Sir Mortimer Wheeler was excavating at the Litany site and made a connection between the ring bearing the name of, you know the name, and the cursed stone bearing the same name. Who'd he call upon? J.R.R. Tolkien, as professor of Anglo-Saxon at Oxford University, to investigate the etymology of the name referred to in the curse. So you know Lord of the Rings? Welcome to its origins. Also, Roman tablets are found to contain references to the artifact, informing the god Nodens that the ring had been stolen. In the tablet, the former owner of the ring proclaims that whoever has taken the ring shall find themselves in bad health until it is given back to its owner. So just give it back. One of the most famous examples of haunted art throughout history is the cursed portrait of Spanish military leader Bernardo de Galvez. Possibly made by Salvador Maella, the painting appears like a typical portrait, but the way it was painted produces a certain discomfort for anybody who ends up appreciating this work of art. So this cursed artifact depicts Bernardo, born in the city of Malaga, Spain on July 23rd of 1746, who died under strange circumstances on November 30th of 1786. So he was famous for helping the American colonies during the War of Independence of the United States. This painting is located at the Galvez Hotel in Galveston, Texas, a place whose fame is, well, directly related to, you guessed it, ghosts and other paranormal phenomena. There is a group of spirits that tend to inhabit the hotel, and the most intriguing and terrifying stories tend to take place around this lovely little portrait. The painting is located at the end of a corridor inside the hotel, where the portrait's eyes are said to follow passing guests. If you get too close to this work of art, you're going to feel freezing cold or uncomfortable. There's even those who claim that Bernardo himself comes down from the cursed item and follows you around the hotel. The haunted reputation of this portrait naturally represents an attraction for tourists trying to take a picture of the painting, but you're not going to get a clear image of it unless you request permission from the man himself. Inside the Baker Mansion in Altoona, USA is the wedding dress of Anna Baker, who fell in love with an ironworker. Legends claim that she eloped from her home to get married to her lover, but her father forcefully brought her back and locked her in her bedroom. She then refused to marry anybody else and spent the rest of her life alone. So after her death, the members of the Baker family reported spotting her wedding dress at a lot of different places just around the house. Some folks even saw the spirit of Anna herself moving around the house dressed in her wedding dress. So sad. The Burton Agnes Hall in Burton Agnes, England is home to a creepy paranormal object called the Screaming Skull. Now this is believed to be the skull of Catherine Ann Griffith, who died in the same house after being attacked by bullies in 1620. Every night, a terrifying ghost is seen roaming around the skull, making tremendous noise and scaring out everybody who tries to touch it. Or worse yet, take it away. This next item, popularly known as Busby's stoop chair, it is a wooden piece of furniture that is cursed by the spirit of Thomas Busby, who was known to ruthlessly kill people. Before meeting the rope necklace for his crimes, he requested to have a meal in his favorite local pub, and upon finishing said meal, he stood and said, "May sudden death come to anybody who dares sit on my chair." And ever since then, 63 people who dared to sit on said chair met untimely and terrifying deaths. I'm sorry, somebody out there waited until the death toll got to 63 before thinking, maybe there's something wrong. I don't know. I feel like that link should have been noticed by death number 20. Later on in history, the owner of the pub donated the chair to the museum, and it's still there. It's hanging about 1.5 to 2 meters off the ground. Why? Well, we don't want any further deaths. I don't know. I don't think that's high enough. People will still find a way. Maybe up on the ceiling, or just put it in a box forever. And finally for today, for centuries a common wedding gift given to brides of royalty and wealth were these intricate and expensive vases. Back in the 12th century, the Duchess Eleanor of Aquitaine gifted her husband-to-be, King Louis, a rock crystal vase. So it wasn't unusual when a woman in the 15th century received a vase as a wedding gift, except it was silver, plain looking. There was no intricate markings, no lavish decorations, and it didn't appear to be expensive, but it contained a curse that would continue to take lives for the next 5 centuries. Not much is known about the woman who originally received the vase way back then, other than her wedding took place in a northern village close to Italy. The stories say she didn't know who gifted her the 4-pound silver vase, but she took it to her room for safekeeping. And when the wedding was about to start, nobody could find her. Her husband-to-be searched for her and found her in her room, lying on the ground, clutching the vase with a fierce grip before passing away just moments later. Well, at her funeral, the now Basano Vase was given to one of her family members for safekeeping. But within days, they were also dead. At the time, nobody thought the vase was the cause of it, and they gave it to somebody else. Yeah, anybody want to guess? You guessed it. A couple days later, they croaked. The family finally put 2 and 2 together and reached out to a priest for guidance, under the belief that whoever gifted the bride the vase put a curse on it, or had it made with cursed materials. They were instructed to bury it on sacred grounds. Well, a lot of folks believed it was buried near the same church where the priest resided, but it's not exactly known where it was buried, since it stayed clear of the history books for around 500 years. In 1988, an unnamed man happened to dig up the vase, and within it found a note reading, "Beware, this brings death." He ignored the note, tossed it away, brought the vase to an auction house. Yep, those who ignore history, doomed to repeat it. It was sold to a local pharmacist for the equivalent of $2,000 in today's money. Well, 3 months later, the pharmacist had passed, and his family sold the vase to a doctor, who also passed away. Yep, deja vu. Here we go. So at this point, the reputation was coming back. Nobody wanted to buy it, minus one archaeologist, who, 3 months later, died from an unknown and mysterious infection. The family was kind of freaked out. They tossed it out of a window, then a cop found it, tried to give it to museums, and all of them were like, nope, nope, nope. To this day, no one knows where it is anymore. And that's it for me once again, folks. I've been Alexa, your resident emo girly. See y'all next time I buzz in over here at Bumblebee.